Are you
Hello,
audible?
hello everyone, and welcome back to D&D&D&D&D campaign number 1, Under Locks and Keys. When we last left off, the party successfully journeyed into the mirror world and secured the spell twin wands, which were initially intended to be under the guardianship of Eat, a mysterious former god who is now a demon of gluttony who protects the gate to the other world. Negotiating with the demon, the party, Sands of Aven, traveled to the other side and battled a doppelganger which had taken over Paul's home. His memories of his home and family restored as it was revealed Eat had taken them away after Paul had made a deal with the demon in an effort to secure a cure for the disease that eventually killed his father. However, now Paul has been reinvigorated with new purpose. His father's body has been found and saved, and as his family watches it carefully over it back home, his youngest brother's taking over the throne, Paul now returns to the waking world, but his memories are his to keep, as his brother sacrificed themselves to ensure Paul would not forget his home and family again. Now, Paul travels with the party not just to save the world from the machinations of the Boomergangers, but to potentially raise Greylog into a powerful enough spellcaster that Greylog can truly keep his word and bring his father back to life. No pressure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no
no
pressure.
pressure.
I wonder what'll happen if he fails.
Ask Hella.
Estella. Well,
Yeah, he'll probably get to talk to her again pretty quickly after that.
Yeah. But in the meanwhile, you guys return to your home base at Tortage. And as you all go your separate ways, intent on following your own devices for the time being, with the exception of for those who had specified that you would be staying nearby, you all settle in for what is likely to be a somewhat brief vacation, as you had been told that more than likely the next key would simply be brought to you by a merchant who has been in communication with Professor Plaster and Anna Kemry. And if this merchant is to be trusted and keeps his word, he will simply bring you the next key and it will be over and done with. So this is going to be a pretty short chapter.
Theoretically.
doubt.
But with that in mind, once you all return to Tortage, you disperse. And that is where we will pick back up. Avaben, going off of what you had told me, correct me if I'm wrong, you for now intend to return home, is that correct?
Uh, you might want to read again.
All right, we'll come back to you then. Paul, over the course of the downtime, what will you be doing?
Well, seeing as my mission has, changed, and Paul will, while still doing most of his training, such, Paul will also try to help Greylog with, because whatever he's doing.
Oh, I see what he meant. Oh. Okay, no, actually that would work still.
Up to you.
We'll come back around.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right.
But of course, yeah, we've talked about what's going to happen to training.
Okay. As you all return to Tortage, so just to clarify before I go any further, Vaben, is my initial assumption correct then? Or do you want to go with the new version I proposed?
Oh, shit. Hold on.
Basically, go there or tell them to come here.
I guess you need to. Oh yeah,
Well,
I
if
guess
he,
if Maven will go there and he can like come back.
Okay.
yeah, I'll give him a
then he
quick,
can, that way they.
quick ride.
All right. Vaben, you've taken
Is
Greylock
that-
up on this before if
Is
you wish
that
to
a
do that.
two-way trip?
Yeah, you did this last downtime.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, because he wanted to show them what he's been getting up to.
All right.
So I guess I'll go let them know that they have a quick way there and back.
All right. Noted.
For now. I don't think it's there all the time.
Yeah, he basically Greylog has to be there to do it, and he might have to rest periodically. But I mean, worst case scenario, you just stay in Tortage overnight or stay home overnight. Either way, it's not like you're stranded. It's a summer home, basically. All right. Greylog, Paul sticks with you for the time being, seeming intent on keeping his word to watch over you until you gain the capacity to revive his father. And as per the established routine, you drop a Vaben off in Sherwood, and Asari coops up in the laboratory with Anna and Professor Plaster. Flower and Fall head into town to visit with friends, and the two of you are left to your own devices for much of this downtime. Greylog, you make your way to the center part of town where you had your tavern constructed, and more than enough time has passed. The two of you head out to where the construction had been taking place and see a completed tavern. A sign out front reads, "The Hella Good Tavern." The structure is stone
tavern.
mostly, carved out of marble and stonework. A few statues of the same make decorate the building. Paul, at a glance, it appears to be 3 stories. The top floor being rooms, the second floor being a shop, and the first floor the actual tavern and eatery itself. However, you can see, as Greylog had added onto the construction when hiring his staff, a door on the side leading down into a basement. At the moment, as the two of you approach, taking in the completed structure for the first time, you can see a few saplings that have begun to grow into small trees, decorate the area around the tavern itself, and a small crew of orcs and goblins tends to the garden and to the building itself. As the two of you approach, one of the orcs, a big and burly orc with long, greasy hair tied in rope-like dreads, looks up. You can see gleaming, kind of yellowish eyes and very sharp, wicked-looking teeth. As the orc, dark green in color, steps towards the two of you as you approach. And he kind of crosses his arms and looks the two of you up and down before turning his head to you, Paul, and speaking. You the new boss?
Boss? Not sure what you're talking about.
That would be me.
Yeah. He turns to you, and his expression is very neutral and hard to read, but he kind of looks you up and down, Greylog, before. All right. You was gone for a while. We've been keeping the place clean, but hadn't been opening. The rest of the workers are ready to sign their contracts whenever you're ready.
Okay, sounds good. Let's get the paperwork finished.
He gives you a nod and shows you inside of your new tavern. And Greylog, as we had discussed personally, while you went over the outside and core details with me, as the two of you walk inside to finish up the paperwork with this orc, what does the inside of the Hella Good Tavern look like as you are currently on the first floor, the tavern and eatery area?
So it's not overly fancy. There's nice wooden mahogany tables, nice bar stocked on the other side of the room. It's not overly flashy since this is an interesting city to have this in. And he doesn't want to have to replace expensive stuff all the time.
Valid.
But it's functional and it looks nice without being overly nice.
See how long that stays.
As you take in the place, which thankfully the construction workers seem to have built to your specifications, no more, no less. Paul, you just kind of watch over things and focus on your training as Greylog. Over the course of a few days, finalizes matters with this orc. We had discussed this before, but since now it's going to actually, apply, I figured I should mention it here. From this point forward, Greylog, you will be paying 12 gold a day for just the staff of the establishment itself. And give me just a minute. I will need to pull up how much the actually maintaining the place itself will cost you. But yeah, so 12 gold a day just for the staff alone.
But it'll also
Okay.
generate money, right?
Yes.
I hope for it.
Yeah, in theory, yes. But you know how business is.
Do you have a way to figure out if this is actually going to be a successful venture?
Yes, actually. That's why I mentioned I needed a minute to pull up how much the structure itself was going to cost. I just have it on a separate document, basically.
How much advertising work he's going to have to do?
Oh, he's actually got a plan already to start generating customers.
D&D turns into a business simulator.
Very well could be.
So, Greylog, how many guests are you basically willing to hold in a single night?
So let me see. If they're let me see, how many rooms was there again?
As many as he could.
Well, bear in mind, it's going to cost him more if he just basically tries to go for the max he can offer every time.
So if we're just talking rooms, I want to say there was 10 rooms on the top floor.
Okay. So you're actually, for tavern standards, this will be pretty cheap. So not counting potential profit, the maximum that your inn or your structure will cost to run. Now, bear in mind, this is just for the rooms, the food, and the drink. That is going to cost you at absolute maximum 10 gold in a day. However, you can make it as little as 2 copper in a day if you're willing to basically run a dirt cheap establishment.
He's not going to go dirt cheap.
And as we discussed when you first bought the place, because you built on, since you paid the slavers to have this structure on their land, you will not have to deal with protection money, which you ordinarily would have, so you save some money on that. So basically, how much do you want to funnel into the tavern? Like I said, bare minimum is 2 copper a day. Maximum is 10 gold. Any extra would just be excessive, basically. But yeah, so like on that scale, how much a day are you willing to spend on, for actually having food, drink, and beds available for guests?
A day, so we said 10 gold.
It's the highest amount.
Let's say 7.
Okay. So in total, you will be paying 19 gold a day for the Hella Good Tavern, but obviously you will benefit from any profits you make. Are you square with that?
Yes.
Okay. Let me note that down for later. With that, your tavern is built. You have your staff. You sign the contracts for the ones who will be paid. And you spend the bulk of your downtime running your business.
Yeah, because he's doing that.
And you said you were going to go do some shipwreck diving again, right?
Correct. And he did want to talk to the non-paid staff.
All right. As you settle into your newly established routine, Paul, currently away on training, although he does frequently stick around the Hella Good Tavern just to keep an eye on you. You make some time to make conversation with that orc you had spoken to earlier, who seemingly as the biggest and strongest of the orcs you hired, and obviously physically a cut above the goblins, seems to be acting as their sort of representative to you. Likely the idea being that he can physically handle it if you, basically if you decide to take out any problems on the unpaid staff.
Damn. That's brutal.
Hey, they're orcs. They got to be practical.
Yeah, fair enough.
So as you seek out one of the lower rung staff members, let's call them, to negotiate with, it is he who pulls a chair up in the tavern itself and sits down across from you and just kind of vaguely gestures for you to speak, picking up a drink and slurping it down as he makes eye contact with you.
So I'm wanting to make, because the idea of having slaves, even though I did pay for them, doesn't sit well with me. So I'm going to offer them freedom. They can leave if they wish, or they can stay, get free food, free housing, in exchange for work and the occasional coin if the place makes a profit.
Roll persuasion.
Okay.
Oh, isn't that what they were already kind of the deal was?
Well, yeah, but now they have the option to leave. They didn't have that before.
Yeah, it was take the deal or take the deal.
Okay, let's see. 17.
He kind of eyes you suspiciously. Did some kind of joke.
Not at all.
Why?
To put it simply, I don't like it for one. I don't
You
approve
didn't like
of it.
it. Why build on this side of town?
It was cheaper, more beneficial, but I also figured if I could end up helping some of the people here, it would be better in my opinion. Changes are it takes a while to make change, but when it does, it grows.
He stares at you for a long moment, but eventually gives you a nod and I'll pass word along. Lord are probably going to leave, you know that.
Probably. But I'm not going to make them stay. If they don't want to be here, well, yeah, they might have better places to go. Families that they want to be back with.
He doesn't say much more, although he does give you a nod, and you get the impression he's at least a little more personable with you following this interaction, although it could just be your imagination. A couple days later, you get word from him that the deal was passed to the rest of the staff in the basement, and 4 of the staff, specifically those who were goblins, took the opportunity to leave. Last, the orc who identifies to you as Lurker tells you that the goblins who left your retinue were last seen on the docks, joining pirate crews who were hiring.
Fair enough.
Yeah, we don't have any problems with the pirates.
Well, you know that you guys have seen yourselves that orc and goblin pirate crews actually frequent Tortage periodically, so it's likely they'll be able to get fair work.
Yeah, so just salvaging. And if he has time, he also wants to do a little bit of research on resurrection magic. But if he has time,
I'll say you're doing that like kind of in the background, but it likely won't be enough to like substantially further it. Just
no, he's just looking at what he needs.
Doing. Yeah. All right.
Not actually learning anything, just doing research, figuring out if it's even possible.
Yeah.
And what it would entail.
Even though we know it's possible.
Well, hey, in fairness, characters don't necessarily know that.
Yeah.
All right, noted. Greylog, you occupy yourself over the next few weeks running the tavern with the staff you have left, who thankfully you have more than enough to keep the place running. And with the money you're pouring into it and the amount of staff you're hiring, so far reviews have been good. You spend your nights reading arcane books on dark forms of magic that speak in any detail about necromancy. These books are few and far between, hard to find, and even harder to keep, but
possibly illegal in some places.
Very. But you are able to at least get a few tantalizing snippets of information that do give you hope that it's possible, although you can already tell you will need some intense training and resources over a period of time. However, thankfully, that was somewhat expected. And with what free time you have left, as always, you make your way down to the docks and begin to salvage the surrounding shipwrecks. Because you've been doing this really frequently, it's going to get harder and harder, but roll investigation at disadvantage.
Okay. Not horrible. So that's a 16.
Okay. Once you've gotten your tavern relatively ship-shape, pardon my pun, you pass word to the staff that it will be half price on drinks, and when you aren't there just occupying yourself with running the business. You make your way down to the docks and begin to morphing into the aquatic form of your choice as per the norm. Make your way further and further out into the stormy seas surrounding Tortage to dive down and just start salvaging anything you can find. Unfortunately, you have already hit a lot of these shipwrecks that had anything in the realm of like objective valuables, you know, like gold and treasure and whatnot. However, there are still ones that have just things like supplies that you have not looted yet. Turning your attention to those, you are able to get, are you prepared to start writing? Like, I have it all on a list here, just like basically like you know, I don't want to rattle it all off and then like, you know, I heard none of that. And this will also go faster if I have more dice anyway. Let me. All right, we'll come back to you.
Wait, who are you talking to?
Greylog.
Oh, okay. I wanted to make sure I didn't zone out again.
You're fine. Paul.
Jeremy, if you're talking, they can't hear you, honey.
Paul, you make your way into the surrounding areas, the borders of the wilderness that are at least as safe as anything gets in Tortage to explore, and focus your efforts on intensifying your training. You have a goal. There is a way. You know you can do this. But you need to be strong, you need to be durable, and you need to be focused. You keep up with your daily training, even though your main mission of sorts has changed. You help Greylog where you can. Occasionally, the two of you make visits to Dolly's shop to acquire books on necromancy that you do not ask, and she does not elaborate on how or why she has them.
I won't tell if you don't tell.
Very much so. However, while you're out on training, as Greylog stays behind to negotiate with the workers for their freedom, you go out on one of your usual training sessions, your mount, as always, accompanying you. However, you notice, while their behavior has never exactly been normal for an elk, their behavior is growing strange. You notice it especially that over a week or two of training, instead of just kind of sitting by and watching you, or just grazing and keeping an eye on the surrounding area, their focus on you becomes more intent, more deliberate. Less the kind of unfeeling gaze of an animal, and more the focused gaze of something that's thinking. As this odd behavior kind of erratically increases over the course of weeks of training, finally, it happens about 2 weeks into the downtime. You're out training in the jungles. Your elk, as always, following you. But you notice, as you look back to it, at this point, the sun is beginning to go down. Your training has basically concluded, as you definitely don't want to be out in the Tortage jungles at night. But as you see the sunset beginning to cast striking shadows on the jungle ground, you notice your elk's shadow has changed. no longer the quadrupedal shadow of a creature, quadrupedal creature like your elk. Its shadow is human. Or humanoid, at the very least. Obviously, you cannot make out enough features to ascertain if they be human, elf, or something else. And you notice that your elk is watching its own shadow, human now, growing against the jungle grass, reflecting against a nearby tree. And your beast stares before making eye contact with you. Again, not the random movements of an animal, the focused, intended ones of something that can think.
I guess I will look to him and be you okay there?
Their gaze goes to the ground again, turning back to the shadows being cast. And the voice that you hear in your head when you commune with your beast speaks up again. Although it is one of the first times it has ever spoken unbidden from your orders. Do you ever wonder about where you come from?
I mean, I guess as far as the Mirrorverse. I mean, I'm not sure what you mean, but I guess the Mirrorverse.
The creature gives a nod, not taking its eyes off of its human shadow. I wasn't sure I understood at first. How could someone not know where they're from? I know where I'm from. But then I started to realize I didn't. It had been so long, I think I've forgotten. How did it feel going back home when you'd been away for so long?
Well, partially nice, but at the same time partially scary.
There's a long silence before... What would you say if I told you I wanted to go home?
Well, I mean, that would definitely be sad to see you leave, but I wouldn't want to keep you here if that's not what you wanted.
Can you promise that?
I can promise that if you wish to go home, then, not really sure. I guess I don't really know where your home is, so hopefully, hopefully that is possible for you.
When we were at the lake, the creature that lives in it, she spoke to me.
Oh. What did it say?
She said that I'd been away from home for so long, I'd forgotten where home was. She said that home was gone, but that I was getting close to finding it. Ever since she said that, I can't stop thinking about it. It's like an insect trapped in my skull. It buzzes and buzzes, and I can't get it out.
Um. Well, do you have any ideas where your home is?
I don't know. But I know it's where I'm supposed to be. And she said that I was close. So I think that means that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I dream about it now. I don't know if it's visions of something that never existed or visions of something I'd forgotten. Maybe a little bit of both. I remember beautiful blue water, islands. I remember feeling safe and strong. Being with you feels the same. So I think I'm close. Will you help me?
As someone who knows, who knows roughly what you're going through, I will do everything in my power to get you where you need to be.
Your elk bows its head, and it's overtaken in a brilliant bluish-green light. You watch as wings extend from the back of the elk. Its body becomes thinner, narrow almost, skinny and almost bestarved. But as it raises its head, its antlers are now sharp and long, like blades.
Interesting.
And as the light clears, you take in the new form of your greater steed. As the light fades, you see that your steed, at least at first, looks passingly similar. While it appears to be more akin to a deer than to an elk, its features are recognizably similar. The head, front legs, and chest are still very distinctly like a creature of that sort, although again, skinnier and smaller like a deer rather than an elk.
Front leg. Oh, so it doesn't look exactly like it.
Yeah, it looks a little different in this setting, but everything else is relatively the same. However, as you turn to look, behind where the wings are drawn, its back legs and hindquarters are feathered like a great bird of prey. As its head follows your motions, you can see beneath the piercing head of horns is a mouth full of jagged, sharp teeth, the face of a predator, not of a prey animal. And all of these features are colored a beautiful turquoise greenish blue color, almost like a blue tinted jungle. Not incredibly different from the very one you've been traveling in. However, looking down, you can see its shadow is unchanged. Human. Your steed has revealed its true form as that of a periton.
Periton.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's. I mean, it's like a. Like I think we talked about. It's like a. At least the picture is of an original Periton, like a chicken elk ear thing. I don't know.
Basically, picture a griffin, except put the eagle half on the back, and instead of a lion, it's a deer. And also, it's green.
Also, it's green.
So it's from the mirror world.
Very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I am from there, so it would make sense. This is what original Periton looks like, but I guess he kind of look a little. I guess you could say baffled by his. I mean, is this something you could have done the whole time?
The creature bows its head. I'm sorry, Master. As I said, I'd forgotten. It's been almost an age. I've wandered in the form of spirit and monster alike. And only now, with proximity to that forgotten thing of the lake, do my memories return to me, much like yours had done for you.
I mean, I'm not scolding you for it, though. I guess this will probably change our train. Guess this will change how we train. See what your newer form is capable of.
As you wish, Master. And the Periton bows its antlered head to you.
He will give it pets.
Greylog, is your mic fixed up yet? Or are you? If you're limited to text, that's fine. Just want to touch base. I'll take that as a no. Go ahead and type in chat just so I have an idea if you're here in the meantime. Vaben, after you're dropped off, you pay a visit to Sherwood. Your friends and family, as always, give you a very warm welcome. You've been away for quite a while, certainly the longest you've been away since your initial departure. However, as you catch up and spend time with those you care about, it's on a day trip with your lover and closest friend outside of him that you make a proposition to your longtime family and adopted family.
Why? Well, it's looking like that we may have an... Oh, sorry, wrong accent.
You're fine.
It's looking like there's going to be some extended time. The next thing that we're after is looking like it's going to be pretty quick. So there's going to be a lot of time away, and I was wondering if either of you wanted to see the place I've been hanging around in. Not that I don't appreciate getting to come home every so often, but maybe the two of you could do to see more of the world.
The two of them look a little taken aback, not offended, more surprised. And after a moment, Ollie speaks up. Wow, Honestly, I thought you'd just tell us to, stay out of it. Stay here where it's safe in the forest.
Oh, well. Honestly, the place isn't that bad. Especially with me and this group around. I think we can handle anyone that gives you trouble.
Well, I can certainly speak for both of us, I think, that we're by no means opposed. Your uncle's been talking about doing the same for a while.
Yeah, I might see if he wants to come too. We'll see how it goes with the with you all, and we'll see how maybe my parents might want to see one day. They're a little more settled.
You all gives a smile, and yeah, I'm gonna have to talk to my folks about it too, but I'm sure they won't mind.
Little a little outside experience can be good for your line of work.
Something like that. It takes some time. Ollie manages to make themselves prepared to leave fairly fast. You all...
It seems like the more adventurous type.
Very much so. You all... It takes some time. He disappears for a little while. But eventually he comes to you with a smile and... Well, good news. I managed to convince them to let me go, as long as I check in between whatever it is you're doing.
It's just going to be for a little bit. Like I said, this next item is going to be very quick to get.
Yeah, you say that, and he gives you a smile and pats you on the shoulder.
We already have a merchant who says they have it.
Oh no, it's not that I don't believe you. What I don't believe is that you think I'm going home after I get there.
Oh, I see. That's not... I didn't think you'd want to stay very long.
He kind of quirks a brow at you.
It is... I don't deny that it is a rough place, even if I do think... I don't think you'll get bothered too much. Just...
If I can handle an Ostillion prison, I'm sure I can handle a pirate town.
Just make sure to keep track of your belongings.
He pats you on the head. Done and done.
How about you, Ollie? Are you wanting to make an extended stay, or are you gonna keep it short?
Ollie is just kind of casually examining their fingernails and kind of also quirks a brow at you. And yeah, no, I'm actually with you all on this one. Honestly, I don't know why you didn't expect this. I already told my folks I'm probably not going to be back for a couple months.
Very well. I just wanted to be sure. I just wanted to be sure you were sure.
They both give you smiles.
I wouldn't say I'm not necessarily... It's not that I'm necessarily shocked, but it was more... I didn't want to push too much at once, you know? You two haven't really left this village very much, have you?
Well, I think it's high time we fix that, don't you think, you all? You all gives a nod, and we got everybody who's important. Let's see the world. And who knows? Maybe you'll be thankful you have us there. You need somebody to look after you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It'll be nice to have some people from home around.
You can see you all and Ollie kind of look to each other. You're not sure exactly what's being communicated, but whatever it is, you are definitely left out of it.
Can I insight?
Go for it.
What's my stat? What stat am I using?
insight. That is your. Let me double check. I believe it's
Oh yeah,
intelligence.
insight is its own stat. It's wisdom +2.
Oh yeah.
I'm
I don't
actually not good at insight.
I'm not surprised.
16.
As they kind of glance to each other, you can see they're smirking about something. It takes you a little bit of kind of eyes darting between them before it's less through. It's essentially less through what they're saying and more the implications of it paired with what's been said before. You recall that you all, for all their faults, did have a fairly decent opinion of your traveling companions. And with their statement being that somebody needs to look after you, initially it just strikes you as odd given that you already have a group that goes pretty well heeled and is clearly capable of defending themselves and each other when the time calls for it. And you realize that they are not referring to protecting you in the physical sense. They seem intent on acting as your social buffers and forcing you to socialize whether you like it or not.
So basically what they've done all the time.
Yes, except now they're going to come with you so you can't get away from them while you're traveling.
Perfect.
I mean, to be fair, in the past, it wasn't out of a lack of trying. It was more everybody else other than you two didn't want to socialize with me.
Yeah, but times change. It's the year 600, give or take a couple. Well, you gotta loosen up.
Well, I don't make any promises of your progress, but I'm sure you'll try nonetheless.
Good boy. And she pats you on the shoulder. You all kind of gives you a smile, and she could stand to be more nice about it, but she is right, Aveben. You can be a little antisocial sometimes. I think being a little nicer to people might be good for you.
Well, it would help if people were nicer to me in years past.
Sometimes you gotta be nice to people who aren't nice to you.
That is a hard thing for me to understand.
And that's why we're going with you. And we know how to
Very
shoot,
well.
so we won't be completely helpless out there.
Yeah, I've gotten a pretty good sense of when things are gonna go down, so I'll give you warning.
Ollie kind of
I'm
glances
not
to
too
you.
worried about you. You're used to fighting various dangers.
Oh, it's not that. Actually, I was more wondering about this. And she kind of taps against the pistol on your belt. Do you even know how to use that thing?
As a matter of fact, I've been learning.
Really?
Yes. Do you want me to test? You want
She
to put
gives.
an apple on your head?
Oh, no, I need to keep this pretty face intact. I was more thinking that we have some target practice. No need to offend the gods on this journey by shooting that thing like a child.
If you wish to see how I can shoot it, then what's your test?
Nothing complicated. Frankly, living out here with the Spriggans, I get kind of tired of riddles and games. Let's
You
just...
probably get tired of broken bones too. It was their arm, right?
Leg, actually. Although they
How's
have
the
broken arms in the past as well.
By the way, how's that leg been treating you?
Still smarts a little bit, but thankfully I don't need to move those too much to do what I do.
Very well. Let's do your little test.
You settle into an easygoing routine. Greylog returns you to Tortage, and you periodically,
Yeah. He'll mention as he goes, oh yeah, I think Greylock has a tavern or something now.
You hear that, you all? Free room and board. I think the least we can do is pay him. For what? Running the business, breaking me out of prison, making sure Avaben doesn't get his head blown off. I'll pay him for the last, not for the first two.
I should correct you. It's more been me making sure his head doesn't get blown off or ripped off. Did I tell you about the time he got into a staring contest with Grendel?
You settle into an easygoing routine. You show the two of them around Tortage, visit with your various associates for business and personal pleasure, and surprisingly, they adapt quickly. While you all is perhaps a touch too trusting, he is clever enough to avoid having his things stolen, at least on his first few days. And what is taken from him is fairly minor things that he did not mind losing. And in fact, you even catch him periodically deliberately putting coins in his pocket just so that the people who clearly need it can take them.
Interesting that if I would just grab his arm and be like, you really are too nice sometimes.
What was that Ollie said? It's the year 600, give or take. You gotta be nice to
How
people.
that calendar works. I don't pay attention to that. I just go with the flow.
Neither does she. He kind of rolls his eyes, and my point is, times are changing. You should be nice to people. You can't be the only dark elf around here. And even if you were, while normally I would not recommend something like this, has the thought occurred to you that if they are mean to you, you can just... And he mimes drawing back an arrow and makes a little sound with his mouth for shooting it.
Yeah, the big one doesn't like that.
Is he nice to you?
Generally.
And he kind of gives a shrug and, well, there you go. Everybody wins, right?
Yeah, he doesn't like whenever I solve my problems by shooting them.
Well, if he's nice to you, then why worry what anyone else thinks? I like you. He likes you. Ollie likes you. And I'm sure the rest of your friends like you fine.
To some extent.
And that's why I'm here. And he gives you a playful smile and a wink.
I want to say the main difficulty is, like, with the dragon one, is I can only ever see where they're from.
Britannia?
They sure have given us a lot of trouble.
Well, you're not wrong, but you didn't like it when people judged you based on where you were from.
That's true. But it's so easy to fall into that.
Ollie's right, Avaben. You're cold. You need to warm up. If things are as serious as they sound like, things are going to get worse before they get better. They always do. I've been talking with the Elder while you've been away, and if I were you, I'd rather go into something like this with friends rather than people I'm tolerating.
That's understandable. And you're right, it probably would be best. But sometimes she does act so Britannian.
He gives you a smirk, and he doesn't say anything, but you get the impression there is something he's deliberately choosing not to voice. He just chuckles and pats you on the arm.
Come on now, what are you saying?
Nothing, nothing. Greylog, I believe I heard your mic earlier. Are you back with us?
Maybe?
Yes, I was able to hear you.
Yes,
So like I said,
it works.
so it'll take me a hot second to put the complete list in chat, but I will go ahead and rattle off basically the bulk of what you were able to find.
Yeah, he's going to take everything as far as the goods and stuff goes. Now that he's got a little shop that he can sell it all in. So he doesn't mind picking up all the
Merchants
smaller
don't-
stuff now.
Hopefully, the other merchants don't mind him moving in on their territory.
Right.
Oh, well, if they do, well, I got a few
Kill 'em.
spells to animate the trees and
kill-
stuff
just
around
kill
my
'em.
place. You know,
It's
home security.
capitalism. Unchecked capitalism at that.
The worst.
Yeah,
Where you
I'm
can just
working on
do
some
whatever the fuck you
home
want.
security spells.
All right. Sorry, like I said, I'm just finalizing the list. So, as you begin to, at this point, I think it qualifies less as salvage diving and more dumpster diving that just happens to be underwater. You are able to find a fairly healthy stockpile of things. From the various merchant vessels that have sunk in the ever-turbulent waters in Tortage, you are able to secure, and I have this ready to send in chat, I'm more just rattling it off for audience benefit as well. You are able to find several barrels, and for the ones that are dry, you are able to salvage from them a barrel's worth of wine, a barrel of gunpowder, and a crate of what appears to be roughly 40 cannonballs.
Okay. Not too bad.
You are also, just from looting compartments, boxes, and things of that nature, able to accrue a small collection of various knickknacks. Their worth is questionable, but they're there.
Their worth
he
is
takes
directly
everything.
proportional. Sorry.
Go ahead, Griller.
He's going to take it all. Everything he can get.
You find from the random salvage a compass, which appears to be broken and instead points southeast instead of north.
But it doesn't point to what your heart desires most.
No, you thought that for initially, but sadly, as you check, it does in fact appear to just point south. Specifically, hang on, specifically southeast.
Aw.
It's
Shame.
not special.
From what appears to be an old armory, most of the weapons are rusted, but you are able to find a rusted but still functional cutlass, which will function as a scimitar should you choose to keep it.
And you said there was a bunch of other rusted weapons?
Yeah, but those ones are so rusty as to be completely unusable, at least functionally.
Like he couldn't try to fix them up later on?
No, bear in mind, these things have been underwater for possibly years. The fact that the cutlass still works is nothing short of miraculous. You are also able to find salted meat and preserved fruit that managed to survive in a sealed barrel. In total, you're able to get 17 rations out of that selection.
Okay.
You're able to get a roll of sailcloth that, once you dry it back out from returning it to the surface, looks like you could use it to replace the sail of the breaker should it be destroyed. You find a small emerald dragon statue, presumably worth something should you choose to sell it, but also would make a good decoration piece. A small crate that was hidden in a compartment on one of the ships, that when you open it on returning to the surface contains a variety of strange powders. Possibly spices and herbs for cooking, but the fact that they're hidden, like squirreled in a compartment beneath the floorboards, does strike you as odd. A hand crossbow that appears to have once been engraved with the initials of the former captain, although, again, time has not been kind to the crossbow, and by the time you potentially restore it to working order, the engraving will fade, so it's hard for you to make out exactly what it reads. You are also able to find 500 feet of functional rope, a frying pan from one of the kitchens that has a strange rune carved on the bottom, and you notice one of the only pans here that did not rust from the seawater. You also find a pretty healthy amount of gold, which I counted this all from different shipwrecks, so give me just a hot second to tally up how much you got. But in total, you were able to get a good amount of gold from about 10 different wrecks. Which I will give you the total of in just a second. And again, I'm going to send this all over text chat after it's all been rattled off. I'm more just rattling it all off, basically. And those last two shipwrecks had that much. From your salvaging the shipwrecks, you were able to get a total of 560 gold from about 10 different wrecks. Alright, I was just making sure everything was typed properly. There you go. I had to roll a crap ton of D100s for that. I think that's the most dice I've ever had to roll at once.
What were you rolling for?
For the loot that he got from the salvage operation. All right. Greylog, is there anything else you'd like to explicitly cover or do during the downtime?
Really, just he's transporting all this back to his little shop.
Okay. In that case, someone please speak up if I'm forgetting anyone. I believe that brings us finally to Dr. Asari-ku. Squirreled away in Plaster's Tortage laboratory, you guys continue your studies on the Divine Doorway and its keys. This time, the studies are a little bit different. Much like before, where you had basically had the word of the Boomergangers that the key was accounted for, but you checked it yourselves to ensure that you were not being sent on a wild goose chase, or worse, into a trap. You do much of the same here. Anna shows you some of the letters she has received from this mysterious merchant, and overall you get the impression that he is reliable, if somewhat talkative, and does not seem to have any ill intent, but as you guys said you would wish to do during the last chapter, you double check his math, so to speak. Eventually, however, you account for what the next key is likely to be, and indeed, Anna cross-references that with Blue Moon's compass, and the compass indicates that the merchant and the key are in the same place. Or at the very least, his letters are coming from the same direction the compass indicates.
Alright, I guess we just wait now. Still very strange.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm gonna have a lot of questions for this guy when he gets here. And Plaster and Anna draft up a letter requesting that the merchant come here. If his word is to be accepted, he should arrive within a month. However, as she sends it off, Anna looks to you and I'll give him a couple weeks of wiggle room. If we don't hear from him by then I'm going to assume something's up and we're just going to go get it ourselves.
I mean, that sounds good enough for me. I don't really feel exactly comfortable sitting around growing mushrooms on my ass.
No kidding. A couple weeks pass. And then a couple more. Greylog, for operating your tavern during the extent of this downtime, is going to cost you... little drum roll.
Yeah.
Let me make sure I'm doing my math right here. I believe I am. I just want to be certain. Yeah, 19 gold a day total, including the staff, over the course of this much time. The tavern is going to cost you 1,140 gold to maintain during this downtime. However, as you did go out of your way to advertise it to some degree, and of course the just general profits that would be pulled in from this venture, I will say that from the various guests you take in, I'm going to roll to see how much you manage to make in profit.
Ooh.
Now, bear in mind, you're a new tavern in a place that's kind of like stuffed to the gills with them, so there's going to be a little bit of little bit of struggle early on.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, just being clear before I start rolling.
Yeah, I didn't expect to start making like bunches of money at once.
Fair. All right. From your first 2 months of operation, you are able to make 752 in profit.
Okay.
Almost
okay.
profitable.
Hey, it covered all my it covered all I needed to pay with profit. So it paid for itself.
Wasn't it like 1,000?
Yeah, I was gonna say, basically if you just want to put your profit immediately back into your expenses, there's still 388 gold that needs to be paid.
Oh. Oh well, fair enough. And paid.
All right. Your first few weeks of operation are running up a loss. However, you're admittedly doing fairly well, all things considered. Given that you are in a location that does not need another tavern, you are running the place essentially at cost and have yet to actually start selling products in the store you put in. Hopefully, there will be some turnaround over the coming weeks. However, eventually, the call goes out. Avaben, as you are out on the town with you all. Greylog, as you're paying off your tavern's debts. Paul, returning from your jungle training. Sorry, what's up?
I wanted to do one thing before, like, everything.
Of course,
I
what's up?
I wanted to go and grab, like, a dragon statue for my new spell.
Okay.
It has to be worth, like, 500 gold, I think. Well, I paid for the painting, but I also need a statue.
Alright.
No, the transformation one is a statue. I was reading it earlier.
So you pay for paintings you didn't need.
Yeah, well. Okay,
She's
I'm
arrogant
done.
enough to want them.
It's fine.
And
Great.
yes, I am planning to sell the statue,
Okay.
but it's not worth what she needs because it needs to be 500 for her spell.
Okay.
I think so, yeah.
And I'm not going to rip off my teammate.
Asari, as you step out of the lab to get some shopping done while you and Anna sit and impatiently wait for a response from the merchant as Anna reaches out and says that they are willing to have the meeting he wanted. You make your way into town and at this point, somewhat predictably, are stopped by the feeling of a small hand tugging at the leg of your pants. And looking down, you see the familiar toy pulling a stuffed wagon, and she gives you a bright, beaming smile. Hi, I'm Dolly!
You love doing that voice, don't you?
I do. Dolly's one of my favorite NPCs. Nice to see you're out and about. What you looking for?
Got to be worth at least 500 gold.
Well, I happen to have, as always, just what you're looking for. And she pulls a small emerald dragon statuette out of her wagon.
Gonna look it over.
As you are not proficient in jeweler's tools, to my knowledge, roll me an intelligence check.
See, is she smart? Natural 3, so 6.
You're not sure exactly how much this is worth, but this does look like a pretty good dragon statue. It's high quality. It looks like time has not been kind to it, likely some archaeological artifact. But Dolly gives you a smile, and I'd say this thing's worth at least 750, but I'd be willing to part with it for 500.
Do you have anything that's not green?
You got a problem with green?
She kind of like gestures at like her like stark white draconic body.
I can paint it?
I'm not a professional, but I don't think you should paint emerald.
She just kind of throws the statue back into her wagon pile and starts rifling through it. And you can hear her just muttering to herself, like, fucking thespians. Oh, statue gotta be white. Here! And she pulls from the entire pile almost topples as she holds out a large white dragon bust with gleaming red eyes.
I'm sorry, what did you say, Hunter? I missed that.
I said Dolly was very impatient.
Yeah.
To be fair, if you had taken that deal, she would have made a nearly 6 times profit on what she got that statue for.
I kind of realized that.
Worth 500.
Okay, so if I take a look at this one...
Like, as in, you have to pay that much? Or...
I think I have to pay that much.
Be worth that much?
It has to be worth that much.
Yeah.
If she had been tricked, it wouldn't have worked. Giving this one a look over, roll intelligence.
Okay. Alright, D&D Beyond. You want to be on my shit
This
list?
one's made out of soap.
Oh my god. 8?
You're not sure. You'd say this is worth like 250, maybe 300 tops. The scales are kind of dirty, and like the eyes are like ruby red, which looks pretty but isn't necessarily accurate.
Yeah.
Just gonna piss off Dollingmore.
Sounds nice, but it's not like really nice, you know? It's like, this, it's got like a bit of dirt on it, and I just, it doesn't vibe, you know?
You're not very smart, are you?
She just kind of like mirrors her little draconic eyes.
She just gives you a smile and tilts her porcelain head.
Look, if you don't have what I need, I can shop elsewhere.
Yeah, I can sell to other people. And she just yanks
Oh.
the statue out of your hands. Good luck finding art like this in this uncultured town. And she just throws it with a clatter back onto her wagon.
Yeah, that doesn't bother me. Just like, if it's worth so much, why'd you do that? I'm gonna turn tail and find someone else.
Which, unfortunately, you cannot.
Is there anyone I can commission one?
Yeah, there's plenty of struggling artists in Tortage.
Does anybody have like samples I can look at?
You are able to find a potter who, similar to the artist in Yav, you kind of go over the basic details with them. And for the specific piece that you're wanting, he kind of guesstimates that he could get you one for about 750.
I don't know if if you heard what she said, but she said yes.
Okay. Yeah, it didn't come through at all. All right. So mark 750 gold off, but you have placed a commission for a dragon statue worth at least 500 gold for the use of your spells.
Yeah, this area sucks for reception. If you
Yeah,
haven't
you guys
noticed.
are like up in the mountains. I get it.
Can't hear
Forced-
you, Amanda.
Sadly forced to return empty-handed for the time being. You nonetheless steel yourself and return to your work. And the call goes out. Flower and Fall from the alleys, Avaben in town with his lover, Paul out training, Asari in the lab, and Greylog in the tavern. You are all called to Plaster's laboratory for news on this mysterious merchant. At this point, it has been a total of 2 months since you guys returned to Tortage. And that immediately sends some red flags for those of you who were paying attention. If his word was to be believed, he should have been here weeks ago.
Yeah.
As you all step into the laboratory, you see the usual menagerie is there. And at this point, it's beginning to get rather crowded. Blue Moon sits with her legs crossed and blows kisses to all of you playfully as you enter. The disguised Sky Serpent Dragon leans against the wall with his arms crossed, seeming kind of impatient. You can see at this point he's traded out his elaborate Levantine garb for just kind of local pirate wear, which he seems to consider more fashionable. Avaben's lover, gives you all a friendly greeting, as you had all seen him about town, having returned from Sherwood with Avaben. As one by one your menagerie gathers, Anna confronts you all along with Asari and has a rather grim expression on her face. No, it's not exactly a shock, but we have a problem. Although, admittedly, not the problem I thought we were going to have, but not a great one to have either.
Was he faking? Did he not actually have it? Or did he have the
Worse,
wrong
actually.
one?
Why don't you give this a read, Greylog? And she slides across the table to you a letter that is marked with a seal you do not recognize. The seal has been broken. Likely the letter has obviously already been read. Do you wish to read it for the group?
Yes, I will.
My dearest companions and allies, Flower and Fall. For those reading this who do not know of me, my name is Clavak, the ever-prepared, they call me. Perhaps your new comrades have heard the stories of me. I'm a close ally of the smallest of your number, the Twin Mind, I hear tell they now go by. I've traveled far, farther than most in my long life, and braved many a great quest like the one you now find yourselves involved in. In truth, the Divine Doorway has been a passing interest of mine for the few times it has been available to me for pursuit. And I've come perhaps closer than most to learning the true depths of its secrets. Based on my studies, I was able to determine which key was most likely to be next. I've already corresponded with the young graduates to inform them of this, and even share my theories on which keys may be next to follow. Sorry, you can of course confirm that this is in fact true. But I digress. I reach out to you now with dire information. I was on my way to deliver the next key, a cursed mask I was entrusted with by the gods themselves. And those who know me will tell you of how much import I place on my belongings and possessions in my travels. But alas, as I passed by the southern coast of Adama, I was waylaid by a hostile ship. It came upon me suddenly, with no offer of surrender or parley, and you know me to be well capable of negotiation when pressed. In part thanks to my efforts in keeping my large travel bag of manageable weight, I was able to pull myself ashore and live to tell you the tale. However, my route to you has been delayed, potentially indefinitely. For you see, something in these coastal jungles has begun to stalk me, hunting me as a predator does its prey. And my concern grows of the dangers that may be posed to others were I to board a ship, such a confined space full of other people, with such a danger lurking in my shadow, making such a suggestion ill-advised. I only entered the nearest village briefly to send you this letter proposing an alternative arrangement. I'm currently making a temporary residence in a place the locals call Suicide Hollow. A small Britannian colony lies on the nearby coast in mine, but for now this little island is my shelter. A lesser man would die here, but I am possessed of the confidence born of experience that my skills will see me through this. However, that does little to solve the dilemma of your key. Of course, the mask is still within my possession, and I will happily offer it to you and your allies freely, if you will do me one request. I cannot return to civilization until the beast of Suicide Hollow is kept from following me and bringing harm to others. Do this for me, and the key is yours. I hope to see your sails on the horizon soon, as I shall keep an ever-weather eye to greet them. Your friend and ally, Clavak the Ever-Prepared.
You said Britannia, right?
Yes, he said that the island he's staying on is off the coast of a Britannian colony in a place called Mine, which he mentioned was off the coast of Adama. The island itself is referred to as Suicide Hollow.
Obviously, being from there, do I know this place?
You're from Britannia, but you're not from the specific colony. However, I will allow you to make a history check.
Yeah, because I was going to say, with Asari and me having traveled Britannia and most of that area before, would we know about where this is?
Colony.
Greylog, you may make a history check as well.
Yeah, because if we've ever been there, I
Man.
would speed up this process.
Apparently, Asari is also suffering from mind fog today. I got a natural 1.
Okay, noted. Greylog?
Yeah, looking for my niche. Where is it? What is my modifier? And let's see. Yeah, I'm trying to. Okay, it's not bad. 18.
Okay. Both of you remember this place. Sorry, yes, while it is not on the mainland, you have visited the colony of mine before. You recall this colony to be a very bustling one, albeit nestled in a somewhat inhospitable area. However, last you heard, they are often waylaid by pirates, which may pose a particular risk to you. Greylog, you recall mine being a fairly kind of out-of-the-way and isolated coastal colony. Indeed, in Adama, which does seem to give this story some credence. And as for the island itself, while you have never ventured there, you have heard the tale of Suicide Hollow. Supposedly an island off the coast of mine, which, while there is a colony on the coast, the Britannians who live there never venture to Suicide Hollow. It is said to be haunted by the spirits of sailors who have shipwrecked there. However, you are not certain what exactly who or what would have attacked him. While obviously the risk of piracy is always present, it would be rather unusual for pirates to assail a coastal vessel that was hugging the shoreline, presumably. If he was close enough to swim onto an island, he was likely fairly close to the coast. And with that in mind, the best thing you can think of is either some buccaneers were hiding on the island itself, which would be ill-advised, but possible, or it wouldn't have been pirates. Most pirates tend to do their business out in open sea where, you know, people can't catch them or be within cannon range. Wouldn't exactly be a smart move to do open piracy with a colony literally with a stone's throw away from you.
So it's definitely plausible that all this happened. So our best bet would be to get to Britannia, and then we could hire a boat from there. But the locals don't like going to that place, with it being cursed and everything.
We could just go straight there.
Not that simple, I'm afraid. The sailors here in Tortage are superstitious, ours included. The moment you say where you're wanting to go, they're likely going to turn you away at the door. You might be able to convince the crew that's been helping us, but even that's a long shot.
I mean, worth a shot. Save us a lot of trouble.
She kind of contemplates.
This is about our mission, after all. It's what they were hired to help us with.
I know you're not exactly a sailor, but I've been living here for a long time. When I say these people are superstitious, I mean it. It's possible they'd abandon even the chance of treasure if they knew they'd be going to that place.
I can get us there if y'all need.
I'm not disagreeing with you, more just saying not to get your hopes up. And she looks to Asari, who had posed the question of any alternatives, and Anna kind of bites her lip, and I have one, but you're not going to like it.
I don't know. I don't like the sound of that.
Look, from what you guys told me of what happened out there in Yav, the Boomergangers did keep their word. They haven't gotten involved. And while I'll admit I am suspicious about who exactly attacked this guy, something tells me it wasn't the Boomergangers. If it was, why leave him in the mask? They would have searched the shipwreck, found it wasn't there, and gone and found him. There's only so many places he could be. So, I'm thinking maybe it's time we ask the Boomergangers to keep their end of the bargain. They said they'd help us if we asked them.
We should see if the crew we actually trust will help. If not, then maybe that'll be the backup plan.
Alright, sounds good. As for the place itself, all I know is the stories. They call it Suicide Hollow. Well, I'm sure you guys can piece together why.
I'm guessing a lot of people have killed themselves there.
Sort of, but not intentionally. See,
Wouldn't it be Homicide Hollow?
she kind of rolls her eyes, and you all kind of elbows you. Focus!
I'm trying to do the humor.
As Greylog voices, I can get us there if needed. Anna kind of quirks her brow. And how do you intend to do that?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, I have been to Britannia, so I can get us there. From there, all we have to do is travel to the coast, and then I can use my ability to wild shape to traverse us through the water.
Can you make a body big enough for us to all get on the island?
It's
Yeah,
not a Dama,
definitely.
right? Matthew?
Yes, the letter mentioned that basically mine is in Adama on the coast, but then Suicide Hollow is off the coast of the mainland.
That's off. That's off the coast of Adama. That's what you mean by mainland, right?
Yes, like basically, like you go to the coast of Adama, there's mine, and then you go into the ocean, and on an island there's Suicide Hollow.
Okay. How far exactly is Britannia from Adama?
I don't exactly have the distance saved in nautical miles, but you know that from because where you live is the Britannian mainland. That mine is a Britannian colony, which I would say, I think it's reasonable you would know, is about, by your reckoning, maybe like a couple weeks journey north.
As in, there's an entire ocean between
Yes.
Britannia and this colony.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, you do realize that this place is quite far from actual Britannia, right? Like a few weeks' journey.
Rip. We lost him.
Well, if he says he can get us there, then, well, like you said, it might be worth a shot. So, we have backup plans. But, as I was saying, the main thing to watch out for is just getting on the island. The reason they call it Suicide Hollow is because it's a small island, easy to miss. So, sailors tend to crash into it while trying to make their way to mine. Mine gets a lot of maritime traffic, you see. And whenever the sailors wake up stranded on the island, I mean, the mainland's right there, they just can't reach it. The sun's driving them crazy, and I've never been there, but I doubt there's a lot in the way of eating. Having freedom so close within reach drives people mad, and hunger and thirst isn't doing them any favors. So, a lot of them don't make it. They say their spirits still haunt the island to this day. Take down any ship that sails too close.
I might need to put a lighthouse on that island.
No kidding. If half the stories I've heard are true, those ghosts are angry. I've heard stories of sailors passing too close to the island and giant boulders come flying at them, almost sink their ship right then and there.
Wouldn't take ghosts to be ones to throw boulders.
Well, ghosts are weird. I mean, I guess they're dead. Gotta get creative at some point. Unless you think giant rocks are just flinging themselves off the island.
Someone is certainly flinging giant rocks.
Well, at the very least, make sure you're careful however you're choosing to get here. Neither you nor the keys are doing us much good if it's at the bottom of the ocean.
Well, to be fair, that means they don't get it.
I wouldn't put it past them, honestly.
I mean,
Great.
I know the dwarves can apparently go underwater, but I don't know if they can go that deep.
I'd rather just not test the theory altogether if we can avoid it. Much as the scientist in me is remiss to admit it. Greylog pipes up. If we can get a small boat we can rest in while I regain my wild shapes, I could do it. She gives a nod, kind of scratching at her neck. Alright, so if the crew can't get us there, then you can. And if you can't get us there, well, we might not have another option but to reach out to the Boomagangers. Key or no key, I'm not sure how I feel leaving this guy on the island, especially a place like that. And even then, I'm not sure what it is he's talking about, this thing hiding in his shadow. I've heard of shadow creatures before, but this doesn't sound like that. At least from not any of the ones I've read about.
Maybe it's what's throwing boulders at things.
Something that can throw boulders, yet is small enough to hide in your shadow without being seen. Ugh.
To be fair, things can be both. There are things that can be both big and then become small.
True. Greylog. Could it be a shadow demon? I thought that, but, well, what does a demon get out of doing this? If they wanted the keys, they'd only get the one. And if they're trying to lure us into a trap, well, like I said, the stories of this have been happening for years. Assuming they're connected in some way. Why? And at Greylog's comment of entertainment, you all kind of just very, like, flat-faced kind of glances to him, and I get the impression that they have better things to do than just fill the time by killing sailors.
Aren't there stories of like a creature that can like hide in your shadow or steal your shadow somehow?
Yes, in fact, it was much the same creature that you guys just fought earlier.
What is it? Doppelganger? Is that what they're called?
Yes.
Don't doppelgangers hide in shadows?
Aye, but they're certainly not strong enough to throw rocks, and at least not rocks that big. And even if it was a doppelganger, he says whatever this is hunting him like an animal. Doppelgangers are a lot of things, but you guys fought one, and you said it could talk. You said it was sentient, it thought. You could speak to it.
Oh, trust me. There are plenty of things that speak and still act like animals.
Yeah, you got me there. Well, sitting here bandying about what we're going up against isn't doing us any good. I'll say, whenever you get the chance, head down to the docks and see if you can talk to the crew of the Breaker about maybe getting us out there.
Maybe if they don't want to go to the island itself, maybe they can get near it and we can go on rowboats.
I was going to suggest the same, actually. Maybe try to convince them to just drop you off in mine. And honestly, if you can get away with it, don't even tell them you're going to Suicide Hollow if you can avoid it.
I think that'd be a little disingenuous. We should probably give them fair warning. It is their ship, after all.
She gives a shrug, but fair enough. What about you, Paul? You have any thoughts?
Well, I agree with you. Artifact or now, we should see about saving this man, but seems like Greylog has some way of getting us closer.
Alright. So...
That's true, too. Maybe Greylog can use his plan from the Breaker instead.
So we'll just use both of you guys' plans. If you can convince the crew, I'm certainly not opposed. I'll admit I'm terrified, but... Would it be alright if I went with you guys on this one?
If if you wish.
Last time I wanted to stay and study the local culture, but if this is some kind of unknown creature that hasn't been documented, I'll need to be there when it's discovered.
Are you gonna name it after yourself?
Yeah, the great Anna Shadow Beast. It throws giant rocks at sailors.
I mean, to be fair, the two things could be unrelated. They could be related, they could not be.
Fair point. Although, it does certainly strike me as odd. Klevak the Ever Prepared. Maybe they should call him Klevak the Incredibly Unlucky.
Who knows? People say bad luck often turns into good luck.
Do they?
I mean, eventually it does.
Well, let's hope so.
Can't stay unlucky forever.
Hey, you got me there. I suppose if you did, you'd be dead. Well, he's lasted this long. Let's hope he can last long enough for us to get there.
And even if you're so unlucky that you die, you wind up being lucky enough to probably get into a decent place.
Greylog. If he's alive when we get there, then we'll say he's lucky. Yeah, with any luck we can just tell him ourselves. Alright, I guess you guys negotiate with the Breaker, and we'll figure this out. I'm definitely coming with you one way or another. I think I speak for everyone on that, aye? The rest of your assembled crew all nod in agreement. Well, if there's no objections, I guess we got a plan. I'll start packing. Let me know what the crew says. If I need to reach out to those cultists, I don't like it, but I will. You guys stay safe, and, I guess prepare for anything. All I can tell you going off of the island itself is we're going up against ghosts, most likely, and, well, it's gonna be hot. I'm gonna be honest with you. The island's tropical, so if you like the cold, I'm afraid you are definitely out of luck on this one. But after visiting Yav, I could use some sunlight, honestly.
It's funny how this adventure has done that a lot, it seems like. Whenever we go from one place, we go to a place that we would rather be. Get a little proper change of scenery. Would have sucked if like 3 of these items were all in areas that looked exactly the same.
I suppose we can thank the gods for being creative. You all gives a smile, and, well, I'm honestly looking forward to this. Island of Ghosts? Sounds like fun.
It's like, I don't know if I'm going to let you go to anywhere near an island with suicide in its name.
You're not the boss of me. Besides, if you think I'm letting you go to Suicide Hollow by yourself, you've got another thing coming, mister.
Raven's just like, well, Ollie, are you gonna try to be a voice of reason?
Yeah, don't worry, I got you covered. She puts her hand on you all's shoulder, gives him a nod. We're both going on the island, right? Oh, yeah, obviously.
Yeah, I knew you weren't going to support me there.
You didn't say support you, you said be the voice of reason.
There is nothing reasonable about this. You are you are volunteering to go to an island called Suicide Island where something is throwing boulders at ships.
Oh, so it's much smarter when you go by yourself, then.
I'm not by myself.
Neither are we. She kind of smirks at you before turning her attention back to the rest of you. So?
I'm just letting you know. If anything happens, I will curse you in whatever afterlife we wind up in.
From the sounds of it, we're just gonna be ghosts, so you can haunt me, I guess.
I will haunt you.
Go for it. You make a really pretty banshee. Well, sounds like we've got something of a plan.
I thought banshees had to be female.
She just nods.
Oh, I thought you were talking to me.
She just smiles and pats you on the head. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's go see your pirate friends.
Yeah, let's go tell them. Let's go ask them to go to Suicide Hollow.
I bet they're excited for the good news.
Oh, hey, by the way, so the next trinket is going to be on Suicide Hollow.
Yeah, you know
the place where boulders get thrown around.
Yeah, that cursed place in pirate lore where no pirate has ever gone to the island and lived. Yeah, the one, with the giant boulders being thrown at you that sink your ship. And then you make it to the mainland, only for it to be some backwater Britannian colony with nothing to offer you.
Wait, if no one's ever left the island alive, how did the Britannians claim it and anybody know about it?
They don't live on the island itself, they just live on the coastline near it. We only hear about
anything. So anything they can see is theirs, apparently.
Well, it's not like anybody else is gonna argue with them on that, huh? Besides, if it wasn't for the Britannians, we wouldn't even know as much as we do.
Would they send people there?
No, but having people fishing on the docks whenever a boulder sinks a passing ship, well, not like anybody on the ship was gonna warn us about that, huh?
Unless they're good swimmers, then maybe they could swim back to the mainland.
Well, if boulders happen to hit the breaker, I guess we know where you're going.
Oh. Swimming's not a skill our village taught very well.
And would you believe it's not exactly popular among sailors either?
That just seems very stupid.
You all kind of tilts their head to the side. I guess when you think about it, it kind of makes sense. I mean, if you fell off the ship in the middle of the ocean, it doesn't matter how good of a swimmer you are, there's nowhere to go.
That makes sense. Actually, that makes a lot of sense.
Why does he automatically agree with him?
Because he's being reasonable.
Oh, stuff it. You do the archaeology then next time.
Wait, who said that? I honestly can't tell the difference between some of their voices.
That was Anna saying that.
Oh. I didn't mean it like that. These two are being so unreasonable. It makes me go tilted.
You can see both of the elves roll their eyes, but Anna just kind of shakes her head, swigs some coffee, and... Alright, I can't believe I'm about to say this. Let's start planning the trip to Suicide Hollow. And that is where we're going. Oh,
Okay,
you first.
I thought we were gonna go talk to the crew first before we ended.
No, usually we include the actual getting there as part of the adventure, so... That is where we're going to end tonight's session. You've all returned to Tortage, taken some time to rest, and the mysterious merchant, revealing himself as a former traveling companion of the twin mine Flower and Fall, has reached out to your archaeology team with a promise to give you the mask, which is still within his possession, if you can get him off the island he's currently stranded on and separated from the predator that pursues him on it. You are adventuring to one of the most dangerous places in pirate lore, and you have to get there in one piece and hopefully get out in one piece. from whatever spirits and haunts await you. In Chapter 5 of Under Locks and Keys, Blood in the Water.
What you gonna do when there's blood in the water?
Yeah, what you gonna do when there's blood in the water? Apparently swim to the mainland. Check out our
You know
website.
that song, Matthew?
No, I just heard you singing it, so.
Sounds familiar.
Check out our website at officiald5hub.info. Down for maintenance at the moment, but soon to be resurrected from the grave like a filthy necromancer who definitely has a necromancy tower on Suicide Hollow. That's a D&D adventure waiting to happen. Check out our link.
Necromancer owning slaves.
Check out our link in chat to join our official D5 Discord server if you want to hang out with us directly. Support our episodes posted on Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Google Podcasts, and the iHeart Podcast Network, wherever you happen to get them from. For our audio listeners, catch us live on Mondays at 7 o'clock Central Daylight Time on twitch.tv/Odd Tornado Productions and the Odd Tornado Productions YouTube channel to catch up on what you may have missed. Check out Odd Tornado Productions official on Tumblr to find links to our other works, including our Paladins Twitch channel at twitch.tv/AustinFreak123. If you enjoy what we do, please support us on Patreon. That link's soon to be posted on as well. On Ko-fi at kofi.com/oddtornadoproductions. And follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/tornadoodd, TNO capitalized, to get immediate updates whenever we go live, as well as updates on all of our other projects. If you want to see more of this party, plus or minus a few, tune in tomorrow, Tuesdays at 7 o'clock Central Daylight Time, for our Tuesday game of Black Ink and Blue Blood, featuring a party of politicians and nobles trying to unravel a political conspiracy if they can just stop stabbing each other in the back long enough. For this campaign, we are taking next week off to prepare for the new chapter, but feel free to catch up on our YouTube channel and tune in the week after next, where we will be beginning Chapter 5 of 8, Blood in the Water. As the party adventures out onto a haunted pirate island to retrieve this mysterious mask that acts as the next key. Thanks everybody at the table so much for playing. Thanks everyone at home so much for watching, and we'll see you all next week.